This is the Financial Survival Network. Now more than ever. The Financial Survival Network.
And welcome. You are listening to and hopefully even watching the Financial Survival Network. I'm Kerry Lutz. Been off for a couple of weeks, but I am back stronger than ever. And hey, we've been looking at this sector. You know, it goes ahead, it pulls ahead. You see gold go up $20, $30 an ounce in a day. And then 2-3 days later, it pulls back. But the direction of the market seems inexorably higher. And that means that there is tremendous opportunities in the mining stock sector. We've got a sponsor on with us, and in the interest of full disclosure, I am a shareholder in this company. I'm talking about Norden Crown Metals. You find them over at Norden, Norden, crownmetals.com. On the TSX, it's NOCR. On the OTC, it's BORMF. And we are really thrilled to have on with us now Executive Chairman and CEO, Pat Varas. And also, Pat, you're a GO. You've got 34 plus years experience dealing in this sector. And this company I found fascinating. Mainly you're focused in Scandinavia, in silver and in other metals. And you've got some interesting news here. But first, just tell us, mining over 3 decades in areas that people don't necessarily associate with major mining. What do you think your biggest lesson in the past 34 years? What have you learned that really is indispensable?
Well, I think it's important to basically test your theories constantly. I think you have to drill. The ultimate test is to drill a property. We as geoscientists, we have a lot of tools at our disposal to try and reduce the risk. The risk of failure, because obviously we come up with ideas and we try to find new mineral deposits, and ultimately you can use geochemistry on surface and geophysics and geological mapping. You have all kinds of statistics and modeling that you can do, and by and large, I think a lot of people have great ideas. But having had, I think, where I think we have a little bit of an advantage when you work for 34 years is that you do get to see a lot of things that are mines. You do get to see, or maybe even find things that, looks, walks and smells like a mine. And so you do get a chance to start to recognize what is necessary to find one of these things. And, you're still going to find things that maybe are not necessarily economic. You have to be careful about the jurisdiction you work in. You have to look at so many things, because today mining, anything can stop a mining project. Even if you have a good deposit, there are myriad of deposits in the world that are not in production that could be very profitable and economic. And so things like not being in a jurisdiction where they're not going to permit you for whatever reason, or that it's going to be taken away as soon as you find something that's of value, and the government says, "Oh, that looks very nice. We'll keep it. Thank you very much." Working in Scandinavia, we know that it is a mining country. They do have, significant mines in all over Scandinavia, and it's a region that people are starting to go to more and more, simply because you do have very fixed. It's a country that has very fixed laws and regulations to mine, and they have great infrastructure. Like nowhere else in the world, where you can drive on a 4-lane highway to our project. and be there in 2 hours from Stockholm.
It's kind of interesting that Scandinavia is so underappreciated, especially with their extensive iron mines. It's really a major mining jurisdiction, and yet you asked people at PDAC and you put in a list and Scandinavia was there, they wouldn't even acknowledge that it was a factor in the industry.
Yeah, it is very interesting because they do have some significant mines. They're the largest copper producer in Europe. They have like a big open pit called Aitik. The Kiruna deposit in the north is the largest underground iron mine in the world. And, they have a history of mining, and they do mine silver, lead, zinc. They have 6 smelters throughout Scandinavia. Here in Canada, we only have 2. So this is not it is a definite mining country. There's a long history, big deposits, the St. Reuben deposit, some of the historical deposits in our area where we're working, they were mining since the Middle Ages. They were mining back in the 1200s in the area where we're at.
That's remarkable. So it's a real heritage. Much of it might be unwritten, perhaps. Maybe it's in the oral history of the groups there prior to the 1700s, prior to almost prehistoric times here. One thing I find interesting, though, Pat, is that when you have experienced people, they seem to be able to capitalize on more opportunities than people who don't have as much experience. Your experience, what you're going through right now on that project, really, the Fredriksson project there, it seems to be proof of that.
Well, you do have a tendency to recognize things. As an example, we're talking in the middle of around 2004, 2005. I had an opportunity to do an alliance with the previous company I worked for, with BHP Billiton, which is perhaps the largest mining company in the world. But we had an alliance to explore projects all over the world. We had projects in Canada. We had a project in Sweden. We had projects in Chile, and we drilled projects in Australia, right in their backyard. And one of the things we had a chance to do, just to learn about the kind of things we were looking for, was we had a chance to visit Broken Hill. We had a chance to visit another BHT called Cannington, which is one of the largest silver producers in the world. And so, lo and behold, I've seen these types of deposits before. So when we see something like Fredriksson, it's like, I've seen this. I think we have one of these things in hand. And so that experience, we're talking something I worked in back in 2004, all of a sudden it's like, I've seen one of these before, and I've seen mines of one of these before. So I think it helps you to identify and also become excited about what it is. The people that mine here, they mined there in the 70s, but they were kind of mom-pop type operations. They didn't mine that much, and they basically left it. And but they were, in their description of this, they were mining, vein type deposits. Well, these are not vein type deposits. These are much more significant than that. And in effect, just the first drill hole we have done at the Fredriksson has shown us a lot of the qualities and of what represents a Broken Hill type deposit. And it's a pretty nice deposit. We drilled underneath all of these workings. So we have proven that it doesn't end where they stop mining. It's actually continuing below that. And so what we want to do now is see, okay, we have one of these type deposits. Usually they're pretty significant. And we know it continues below the old workings, below the old mine. So let's find out how big it is. because they didn't drill very deep at all.
So when we're looking at this, we're seeing a lot of silver, other metals. What are you expecting to find?
Well, the nice thing about these deposits is that they are polymetallic. They do have often significant amounts of zinc, significant amounts of silver and lead, and oftentimes they have a bit of gold. They have other minerals. So, we're about 3-4 weeks away from getting the first assay results from this first drill hole, and so we're going to be pretty excited, pretty interested. Historically, the grades in here are maybe, from say 50 to 100 grams per ton silver. Very good zinc grades, probably from 5 to 10% zinc, maybe even more. In the region, we certainly see significant grades of silver and zinc. One of our other prospects, the Ostra Silver prospect, we've had values of 600 to 1,000 grams per ton silver. I joke with some of my friends, with some of my geologist friends, because one of the drill holes had a big intercept, again about 12 meters of very high grade zinc, silver, and lead, but the combined lead zinc was over 30% combined lead zinc, and it had like 1,000 grams per ton silver. And I used to say, I don't think there's another molecule of metal you can fit in there. But so the region does have some very significant high grades. I think that this Broken Hill type, the Fredriksson prospect, I think we're going to see. I would bet anything that we're going to have good rock, probably rock that's probably valued at $250 plus a ton. So
that's nice. Hey, one of the things that really attracted me to your company initially and led to my investment was the intimate involvement of EMX, which is the royalty company from the U.S. I know those guys. I think they have 9 or 11 geos on their staff, and they are some of the smartest, savviest mining investors that I have ever come across. They've been very involved in the company, haven't they?
Yeah, in fact, one of their manager, their manager of explorations, Eric Jensen, is on our board, and he is obviously one of our geological advisors. And he's also a very significant shareholder of our company individually. EMX has been all along a big shareholder of our company. We called them a strategic partner, one of the pillar investors, and they've participated in every single one of our financings. But more than that, I think you're right. They do have, their model is to basically identify projects, good quality projects, and then what they do is they vend them for a royalty to people that raise money to actually explore those deposits. And so that's how our relationship began. And but they have been very supportive. We use a lot of their staff to help us out. We do have our own people, I think we're very strong from a technical perspective. Our company is primarily made up of a bunch of geoscientists. And so in terms of exploration, I think we do have a lot of brain power. And EMX is obviously a big partner in that.
Yeah, and that's something that I think is very important when you're dealing in the junior space. You want to see a company that has got these relationships, so that not just for potential financing, which we know is crucial, but also for the expertise and the network to find the opportunities that you might not otherwise see. So Norden Crown started in 2017, interesting time. You hit the market, things were looking good, and then all of a sudden the sector kind of like went on life support. It was like pretty much everything was in suspended animation. Here we are 3 years on, a little more than 3 years, and what a difference a few years makes, huh?
Well, yeah, and I think it's very important to know that, because we could recognize great opportunities, good projects, but sometimes the market is just not with you, and our valuation. Like, I think today our company is a real bargain, because we went through a period where there was zero interest in the sector. Nobody was putting money into any kind of a mining project, not gold, not silver. And in fact, really until last summer, when gold began to take off. Of course, if gold takes off, usually then silver lags behind it, and then maybe some of the other metals go after that. So now we're seeing a real interest. We've I think today, or in the last few weeks, we've seen significant interest in our company. Our trading, before the summer, there were periods of time where we wouldn't trade a single share. Today, we're trading millions of shares a day. And I think that reflects the fact that I think people are starting to recognize that we have, I think, a very, really great potential. I think we are very undervalued. Our market cap is very small, and so obviously there's a huge potential for the upside. When you're making good discoveries, when you have good projects, it's not like we haven't drilled some really good holes. We've drilled some tremendous holes in the last 2-3 years. But just to see how different things are, back in 2019, early 2019, we put out results for what I think is probably some of our best results yet. And I remember that the market didn't even, it's like everybody had gone home. And nobody was looking at it. Nobody looked at it. And in fact, we went public, like you say, in November of 2017, and we did our IPO at 30 cents, and we've never seen the light of day. It's always been coming down in price. And I've seen this in the mining sector before. It's not the first time. When I first came into the industry in the 80s, we had a period like that. After Briex, and probably until about 2003, you couldn't sell a project if it actually had all the goodies. It was unbelievable. Mining companies, like actually producers, were valued at below, like they own operations, and they could have just sold off their equipment and be valued at more than the market was giving them credit for.
Yeah, they were worth more dead than alive, literally. But I think those times are changing now. I think a great place to be positioned is in your company in Northern Crown Metals. Just go over to Norden, Norden, crownmetals.com. Sign up for the notifications. Again, ticker symbols TSX, NOCR, OTC, BORMF. Pat, it's really been a pleasure having you on. Really excited about the company, really excited about working with you guys and being an investor there. And thank you for that opportunity. And my book, when I look back, the best investments I've made, it's always the people, more so than the projects, because the people are the ones who are going to, the experienced, capable managers like yourself are the ones who are actually going to get this thing going. They're going to be drilling. You're going to, in the end, you live or die by the drill. And it sounds like you're in a great position. We really appreciate you coming on. Any questions or comments for Pat or myself, just go ahead and email me, kl@kerrylutz.com. Pat, we'll be talking a lot in the coming months. Good luck, and I can't wait for your next release.
Thank you so much. Please look forward to those results. I think we're expecting some real positive things. And then obviously we want to keep drilling, so we'll be looking, I think, to do some financing maybe in the spring or in the coming months. So hopefully we can get you to put in some more money, Kerry, and maybe bring some of the people that that is in your audience as well.
Okay, well, from my point of view, I think there's worse places you could put your money by far. A lot of them are so-called safe investments, but we'll save that for another day. But the point is, As soon as we get the results from you, we will blast it out. So make sure you sign up on our mailing list on financialsurvivalnetwork.com so you can get that info. Sign up on the Twitter as well. We will retweet your tweets there. And I can't wait to get those results. I mean, we're looking at just a few short weeks, Pat.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, it's not going to be long, but keep your eyes out for them. And this is a good time to be investing, I think.
I couldn't agree with you more. Again, the place to go is NordenCrownMetals.com. That's NORDEN crownmetals.com. Sign up for those notifications. You're going to be getting a lot of them soon. Pat, a pleasure. We'll talk to you again real soon.
Thank you so much, Kerry. Take care.
The Financial Survival Network.